Well, hello everybody. I've just been out in the yard harvesting all of my Swiss chard. Look at that, a whole handful of Swiss chard. And that was off of that same bush that I've already harvested off of. But it rained since then. And then I've got cabbages as well, my cabbage leaves. And I decided to go ahead and harvest the cabbage leaves before the worms harvested them. So, what I'm going to do is wash these things. But we are going to get the stems out. Like I had showed you the other day that we took these stems out. Because the stems, they don't cook too good. Then I'm going to throw them in the water and yeah, I'm going to cook my Swiss chard and my cabbages together. Put those stems right back in my compost. I've got an ant that came in with me. Don't want him around. He'll bite. And I've had a request to cook bread pudding and tortilla soup. Well, I'll have to admit, my mom used to fix bread pudding all the time, rice pudding all the time, but I have never in my whole life cooked bread pudding. But I may try it. I've never cooked tortilla soup either. Now, I love the chicken soup that I cook, but I've never actually cooked a tortilla soup. I don't know if I would like it or not. And since I'm the one that has to eat this stuff that I cook, I'm going to think about that a little bit. As you know, I eat what I cook, so I have to like what I'm cooking or I'm not going to cook it, because if I cook something I don't like, then what's going to happen? I've wasted that food because I'm going to end up throwing it away. So I'll think about it. Just break these little ones off. And I was going to fix coleslaw, but I don't have fish or anything to go with coleslaw right now, so I'll wait and do that another time. Yeah, this Swiss chard just grew like overnight since it rained, because you saw how I harvested. I mean, I scalped that plant. And all these cuttings off of this Swiss chard is going to be fantastic for the compost tea. In fact, when I was gathering the leaves, a lot of them that were not good, that I didn't want to cook, I just gathered them up and threw them in the compost tea buckets. Right along with the cabbage, I threw a bunch of the cabbage leaves in the compost tea buckets. And I'm cutting part of the stem out of the cabbage, just the ones that I think will be tough. You know, I showed you how to do that the other day when I cooked some Swiss chard, but we cooked it in a frying pan the other day. I'm not cooking it in the frying pan today. And I am going to cook the Swiss chard and the cabbage together. But these leaves are great. You know, like the other day I fixed cabbage rolls. These leaves that you harvest are just perfect to make your cabbage rolls with. Because sometimes you prefer the outer leaves to make your cabbage rolls because you want the bigger leaves. Unless you got hold of a really big cabbage. Well, that doesn't look too good. Don't want the stem. But you can take these leaves and throw them in your blender. Put your salt and pepper in there and coleslaw dressing or whatever coleslaw dressing that you make, you can put in it. And make some really good coleslaw just with these leaves. It might look a little greener than your head of cabbage. But it's the same thing. And you can see I've got a little, actually what this is a fried chicken container. I bought some fried chicken at Walmart. Like I told y'all, maybe once a month or once every 2 months, I'll be buying groceries and I'll go by the section in the back where they have cooked food. And I'll see that fried chicken, especially if it's just come out of the fryer. And I have to get me some fried chicken. But I don't do it all the time. You know, it's not every week. Not every, like I said, it's about once a month, once every other month I do that. Because I just crave that fried chicken once in a while. And I looked these over good before I brought them in to make sure I had no worms or anything that I was bringing in. So, and I do that with the leaves that I put in the compost tea too, because I don't want to put worms or worm eggs in my compost tea. I don't know if the worms will survive in there, but I'm not going to take a chance because I don't want to be watering my plants with compost tea that has worm eggs and stuff in it. That way it'll just spread around my garden, and I don't want to do that. So now I'm just over here going to wash these off. I guess you can see me. Just going to wash them good. And you can break them up if you want to. I do a lot of times. It saves when having to chop them a lot later before you go to eat them. And you can take these leaves, if you don't want to cook them right away, and blanch them. Just boil them for maybe about 5 minutes, a couple of minutes. Drain them and throw them right in a freezer bag and throw them in your freezer. Take them out later and cook them when you want them. If you've got room in your freezer to do that. Most of the time I don't have room, since I don't have a deep freeze anymore. tough stem right there. And you can go ahead and cook them and then freeze them too, just like I do a lot of times. Sometimes I'll just go ahead and cook them and then freeze them in small individual containers and take them out when I want to eat some. So either way you do it is good. And I did not do my hair. I don't have makeup on. And I got hot and sweaty outside, so I just came in, cleaned off some, and decided I was going to get these in the pot cooking. And I said, well, I'll go ahead and start the video now of me starting these. And I'm going to cook them right here in my little pressure pot. Get a little bit of water down in the bottom of it. Doesn't take much. About maybe an inch of water in the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and get that started going. So it'll cook down a little bit. And then I'm just simply going to put the cabbages and the Swiss chard that I've already cleaned and broken down a little bit in my pot and get it started to going. It's like I got a pot full, but you know it cooks down to nothing. Splatter water everywhere. It's like I need to get some dish soap. Now, I'm going to get that to boiling. You know me, I got to keep water in my sink. Keep things wiped off with. Now, the old-timey way of fixing these, even if you cook them in a pressure pot, would be throw a little ham hock or a ham bone or something in with them. I don't have it, or I would put some in there because I like them cooked that way. But I'll show you what I'm going to do after we get them cooked like this. Now, I'm going to wet my lid down a little bit because I want that gasket a little wet, a little moist. Put that on there. Make sure my little lock is dropped, and it has. Now, I'm going to cook these for about an hour. Half hour to an hour. And then I'll bring you back and see what we're going to do next. Well, I'm back, y'all. It's been about 45 minutes, so I wanted to check these. Now, if I can reach up here and get my colander down. It's on the other side. I'll get it going here in a minute. And I'm simply going to drain my greens right in my colander. And I've got a bowl under the colander. See? I'm just going to let that drain and cool just a minute. And what we're going to do is fry some bacon. Put it right over here. And I cut my bacon and put it in a container. A lot of times I don't like to open it and leave it in the package. But this is what I do sometimes if I don't have ham hocks or little bits of ham to cook in my greens. I'll fry me some bacon. Don't have to cook much, just, well, I've got 3 strips of bacon in there because I've got mine cut in half. But it would be 3. And I had a bottle of water. Here it is. That water's good, y'all. See if I can move this camera back just a tiny bit. It's sideways. I didn't mean to do that. I guess that's straight. And you might say, well, why didn't I just throw my bacon right in my greens and cook them like that? Well, when I put bacon in there, I just like to do it this way. I don't like the way the camera's sitting, y'all. Maybe it'll stay there without falling and hitting the ground. Don't like that too high. I'm over here getting my bowl, y'all. This is the bowl I'm going to put my greens in. And you know what? I think I'm going to switch burners. See, I knew we didn't have that much water in there. So basically my greens have drained, and I'm just going to dump them right in that bowl. Can't get that last one out with one hand. And I'm saving that juice, and I'm just simply going to put that in my compost tea buckets. And I got a chopper. I've had this little chopper, this hand chopper, for so many years. I don't even know how long I've had it. But I'm just going to chop my greens up. It might have been better if I had a square thing to do this in instead of this round bowl, but oh well, the round bowl is what I got. I've seen my mama do collard greens this way for so many years. And I'm just trying to get this stirred up a little bit so I can get some of those big pieces that haven't been chopped on the top. This is an old-timey way of fixing greens. Especially collard greens. And you don't have to get them chopped up real fine, but when you can chop them up a little bit, makes it so much easier to cook, to eat them. I mean, not cook them, we've already got them cooked. Remember, these are our cabbage leaves that I harvested out of the garden, which are a little bit tough, you know, tougher than they normally would be for just like a head of cabbage. So it really helps to do it this way. Let me flip my bacon over. You could throw these in a food processor. I, didn't even think of that. I was just going to show you the old-timey way of doing it. Because not everybody has a food processor or a blender that they can put theirs in. But if you have a chopper, just a little hand chopper, tell you the truth, it even looks like collard greens, but it is cabbage. And I'm going to put my bacon over here to cool off, drain a little bit. To cool off more than anything because, we're going to use that little bit of bacon drippings. But I remember when my grandmother used to cook collard greens this way. She'd always make cornbread and fatback. White steak, as they used to call it. I loved fatback. But the fatback that we always had did not have any strips of lean meat in it at all. And that you get at the store, they've got it, but it's got little strips of lean meat in it, almost like bacon. What we had back then was just, or what we had in North Carolina was just pure white fat, cured pork. But I like to fry my bacon when I put it in there. Just some of the old-timey ways. I lost my water bottle. We could turn this up just a tiny bit. I hate to talk to you and my head's cut off out of the top of the picture. Yeah, this is an old-timey way of cooking collard greens or mustard greens, kale, cabbage greens. Especially if you're just harvesting the leaves, before it heads up. Because the leaves are just a little bit tougher than the cabbage would have been if it headed up. trying to let that bacon cool off because I want to just crumble it up in my greens. It's a little bit too hot to do that yet. And here's something else I do. I try to wash that grease around in the pan and get those drippings right in my greens. And some of you may think, oh, that's an awful thing to do. Well, no, it's not. Because it would have been the same difference if I'd have put those that bacon strips in my pot when I was cooking the greens. All the grease would have cooked out of it in the greens anyway. But I think it gives it a little bit better flavor to go ahead and fry your bacon and then put it in there. And then I just break my bacon up, throw it in there, if it's cool enough to handle. Woo, hot, hot, hot. Those are the last two pieces that come out of there, y'all. They're hot. They have to let them cool a minute. Unknown name. I'm not going to answer it if it's unknown. If it's unknown to the phone, it's unknown to me too. Whew. Hot. Hot, hot, hot. Oh, that burnt my fingers. Now I simply just mix it all up together. And to me, it just has a better flavor to fry your bacon and crumble it up and put it in there like that. And I'm going to taste some of it right off with my spoon. Y'all have a bite. It's pretty good. Now you can go ahead and season those with salt, pepper, onion powder, anything else you want to put on there. I usually wait till I get my greens cooked before I season them. But there you go, guys. My greens, my kale, and my cabbage leaves cooked with bacon. Y'all try it. It's pretty good. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos. Y'all have a blessed evening, and I will see you on my next one. Bye now.